What's up, everybody? Dog 1985. There's levels to this. I'm sorry for my energy's a little bit low. I literally just woke up, about to take my pre-workout, hit the gym, and then I gotta hit the road. But I haven't made a video in a few days, and I felt like I had to give you guys something. I've been looking at online. I was still watching my YouTube videos. I still been watching what's going on Twitter and everything, and everyone's excited about the showcases, right? Um, there's belief, there's disbelief, there's confidence, and there's less confidence in certain aspects of the Sony showcase and the Xbox showcase, all that other stuff. But one of the things I saw that I found pretty interesting was the dismissal of Starfield needing to score a high score review wise. Now, at surface value, when I first saw it, I was disappointed because I feel like, or I felt like it was almost giving Starfield an out. But just like with many things on YouTube and on Twitter, if you actually listen to what the person is actually trying to say and not just take the first snippet that you hear or not just take the headline, you understand that there's nuance to the conversation. And the consensus is this: review scores for a game don't matter. They don't matter because review sites are not consistent. A game can come out, and I know you're going to agree with me on this, with a whole bunch of bugs and still win Game of the Year. And another game could come out flawless and not win Game of the Year, right? Or better yet, a game could come out with a whole bunch of bugs and get Game of the Year, and another game that would is great but has some bugs will then get deducted because of the bugs. Okay, so what does that mean for us as the gamers? Whatever you want to review the game is what matters. So when you're listening to the reviews of a game or you're reading the reviews of a game, it is oftentimes better to just speak with the people that game like you and see what their opinion on the game is. And if you can, try the game out for yourself. And if you could try the game out for yourself without having to drop $70 on that game and wasting your time just in case you don't like it, then that's what you should do. So there's people out there, whether you want to believe it or not, that have thoroughly enjoyed Redfall. Me and you can say that Redfall is garbage. It doesn't matter. That person that played Redfall and enjoyed it got what they wanted. The same way that, but for me, I'll use myself, Scorn to me was a masterpiece. Very different type of game, but when I played the game from beginning to end and I was able to fill in the blanks as to what the story was, I was amazed. And I felt sad for so many people that didn't finish it. The same way that I thought Hellblade was a masterpiece. And I know that a lot of people out there didn't like Hellblade when it came out. Didn't play Hellblade like that. It wasn't until enough people beat Hellblade that we started telling y'all like, yo, you need to play this game. Shout out to my boy ISO Motion Gaming. I told him, I was like, yo, you need to play Hellblade. When he beat that game, he called me up like, oh my God, this is one of the greatest games I've ever played. It be like that. When A Plague's Tale Requiem dropped on Game Pass, people were telling me playing it, right? Shout out to my dude Severin. Severin goes to me, no, don't play that first. Here, play first. Play Innocence first. And he got Innocence for me. I played through Innocence, loved the game, played A Plague Tale Requiem, amazing. I don't know what the scores are, the review scores for those games are. All I know are people were telling me, hey, you need to play this game, you need to play this game. But at the end of the day, my experience is what really matters. I'm currently struggling to finish God of War Ragnarok. And I have given this game praises left and right. It's a beautiful looking game. The production value is amazing, right? it runs at 60 frames per second, but there's something about the game that doesn't have me pulling myself back. Doesn't make me want to turn on the PlayStation to continuously play it. I want to play with Atreus again. That's the best part of the game was Atreus. And there's clips of me on Twitter after a segment where I'm playing as Atreus where I'm like, this was fun. They figured out gameplay during the Atreus portions of the game. Everything else feels clunky, slow. He moves like a tank when you're playing with Kratos. Don't make sense. The camera act like it just. But again, if you loved it and enjoyed it, that's for you. You know, I'll stop picking on PlayStation because if Sony fan base gets really upset, they need validation from other gamers. So let's go ahead and talk about Elden Ring. I dropped 26 hours into Elden Ring. To me, it is not a great and amazing game. It's not. But that shouldn't affect what your feeling of the game was. Not at all. So when Starfield drops, the only thing that's going to matter is how do you feel about Starfield? How are you going to feel about Starfield? Different people might not play it for different reasons, and that's perfectly fine. Like, I will not play a first person shooter on a console at 30 frames per second. I just won't. There's too many other first person shooters like Titanfall 2 that I haven't played yet that run at 60 that I could play instead of that. I'm going to finish those before I even have to subject myself to a 30 frames per second first person shooter like Redfall. And the funny thing about Redfall is that I'll bet if I played Redfall, I could probably have fun with it. But not at 30. We're not doing that. But again, that's just me. So Starfield doesn't need to have a 90 Metacritic score. Doesn't need to have a 10 out of 10 IGN score. None of that stuff. Last example I'm going to give you. Tears of the Kingdom is getting accolades everywhere, right? And I see some people critiquing Tears of the Kingdom, right? But I'm going to tell you this, okay? Right now, I'm currently playing through Breath of the Wild, all right? Breath of the Wild, even though it's running on a Nintendo Switch, and yes, it's 30 frames per second because it's not a first-person shooter, buddy. So calm down before you even start typing in the comments. Saying, you played at 30 frames. It's not a first-person shooter, okay? But Breath of the Wild, to me, it's blowing my mind right now. The gameplay loop is extremely addictive. Extremely addictive. My son that beat Breath of the Wild recently purchased Tears of the Kingdom. And when I'm talking to him about Tears of the Kingdom, he is telling me how great this game is. But he's honest with me. He said, how you like Breath of the Wild? I said, nah, I'm loving it right now. He said, then you're going to love this one even more. Any other reviews that I read about it, this isn't that's at this point doesn't matter. My son, to me, is the subject matter expert when it comes to Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom types of games. I think he's put something like 100 and something hours in Breath of the Wild or whatever. Okay. So if I like Breath of the Wild, I like Tears of the Kingdom, okay, cool. But at the end of the day, when I get to try Tears of the Kingdom, my experiences was going to matter the most. So those reviews don't really matter. Don't really matter. What Microsoft has to be concerned with, what Xbox needs to be concerned with, is getting the majority of player to agree that this game is good, that Starfield is great. If they can do that, then they're fine. If they can't do that, then they're doomed. See, if they get a 90 Metacritic score, but a lot of people aren't actually playing the game, that doesn't matter. You let me know what you think. Doc Dog 1985, there's levels to this. We out. Peace.